Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. It is white here. Everything is white outside. Craziness. My dog was supposed to have a nail trim appointment today. Not getting there. Not doing that today. I think we got about 5 inches ish, maybe 6. It's still snowing. So I think we're going to be inside this weekend. I haven't been able to walk most of this week, which I miss. So it's been whatever. Anyway, I want to read a comment and talk about. I started to respond to a comment and then decided that would be today's video. The other day I was talking about kind of winding down my usage of social media, and Jonathan was leaving a comment that said, you're probably better for it, frankly, and it's another sign that things are going so well in your life that there isn't a real need for that type of outlet anymore. The ones that need to contact you are able to find you. Plus, you can only keep up meaningfully with so many people in the world as it is. We weren't designed to know and to keep up with so much all the time. Too many people would be better off without it. Or no, and many people would be better off without it. And so I started to respond to him, and I had this, I said, I said, you're right. I'm leaning more into meaningful connections, and I've always struggled with maintaining those, and I think it was. And then I said, you know what? Let's have that conversation here. I've often said that I struggle with making meaningful connection. I struggle with maintaining connections with people, and I do. I do. But there's a lot of reasons. Number one, I'm peculiar, to say the least. I think that I don't have a whole lot of filters, and so I just say things, which is very off-putting to a lot of people. And so that causes me to not form any sort of, first impressions being, this guy just says crazy shit. Which means that there are people who don't, I don't want to say don't give me a chance, but it means I sabotage myself before there's an opportunity to really connect with a person. And then the problem is multi-part from that point forward, and almost always on my side of things, is that I've always... I have a sister. She's 4 years older, and for a good period of her life, she was operating a bar, and before that, her and her husband were always doing social activities. And so my sister's house has always been like a gathering place for people. And I've always liked the idea of having a large, and I mean, she would have like every Friday night, there'd be 10 people at her house or 15 people or whatever. And she would maintain these connections with these people all the time. And I always thought that was something to envy. Like, not that I wanted that many people in my house. I don't. I would rather have one person in my house at a time. I felt like I needed to cultivate this large group of people. And so what that meant was there's this core group of people that I know personally, that I maintain contact with on a regular basis, and then there's all these other people that I would love to know and make contact with on a regular basis, but I will start having a conversation with them, and I will start connecting with them and having meaningful connection with them, and then somebody else comes along and I go, oh, I need to have a meaningful connection with this person too, and that ultimately means that outer sphere just constantly gets churned because I never stop and take the time to really make that meaningful connection, because there's that next person I want to please, and it's maybe it's part of a people pleasing mindset, but it's always been, I'm trying to find that next person to connect with instead of maintaining what I have. And so when I say I'm not good at maintaining relationships, it's because I get attracted to new relationships. And I'm not talking about like sexual, like, or, romantic relationships. I'm talking about just friendships. I struggle to maintain the friendships that I make because I move on to somebody else, and that's not fair to the friend. But sometimes that's just the way friendships work, right? It's not necessarily always my fault. There are friends that have drifted away of their own accord, and for whatever reason, we don't communicate like we used to. That sort of thing. Um, but I think that Jonathan kind of nailed it. Is that I was not necessarily. I was looking for a large, shallow pool instead of having meaningful connections. Talking to Ignacy, the CEO of Portal Games, when we started to meet, he was shocked at how many people I knew in the board game industry. He was shocked at, like, we would go to every booth and I would talk to the people there. I know them. I've whatever. I've been a part of this since the 90s, right? So I know a lot of people. And I have these superficial relationships with these people. I have these 10-minute meetings a year where we catch up and go, dude, what have you been up to? Let me get you some stuff. Do you want one of our games? Whatever. And we hang out and dude, it's great. It's so good to see you, whatever. And we move on with our lives. And they're not personal friends, but they are connections. And in some ways, that's a meaningful thing, right? It means a lot to me to be able to walk the hall of a convention and read the temperature of the room based on all of my friends who are working there. But those also get in the way because while I'm walking that room, there's people I'm ignoring. Instead of saying, I'm going to go spend 10 minutes with this friend, I'm going to go spend 2 minutes with 10 friends. 2 minutes with 5 friends would be the correct math. And that's where my comment was headed. Like, I think this year the goal is to just kind of keep the friends I've got, right? Just kind of let's really try to make the friends that I have. Let's make that more meaningful to me. And so that's it. It's I think searching for social media for validation was a version of that. Was a quest for connection that didn't need to exist. Instead, I just need to find the people or have that relationship with the people that are already in my life. That being said, I'm trying to do some things that are bigger than my friend group. Writing a book and self-publishing a book requires an audience. Like, I could write a book today. I could publish a book today. And if I just do it quietly, it might sell a copy or two, right? Some person stumbles across it and buys it for 99 cents on Amazon. But I really need to have a group of people excited for me for that launch. Or I need an agency, right? Like, if I'm going to do the self-publishing route, I have to have that. I have to have those shallow connections to a bunch of people so that if 2% of them kick in and buy a copy of the book, then now I have 40 sales on day 2, and now it starts to be suggested to people. That's a requirement. And I'm still going to do the self-publish. That's the goal for the year. Self-publish a book. But I think that ultimately, if I'm going to continue to create products, books, not necessarily this, I'm going to continue to do this. And I've not been promoting this anywhere. Like, I still put it on my Facebook and I still put it on, well, it goes on Twitter automatically. I'm not promoting this I'm not trying to get new viewers. I'm not, actively seeking. I've got the friends that I like, and every now and then some new person stumbles upon because of a video like this. Like, this video people might be like, oh, this has meaning to me, and now suddenly I have a new follower for a couple of weeks or whatever. And I try to make connections with those people. I respond to most comments. Almost 95% of the comments get a response from me of some sort. But if I'm going to try to do this publishing a book, or if I'm going to try to make an RPG or self-publish my own board games, I have to have that audience. And cultivating that is a lot of work that I don't really know that I'm into. I don't know that I'm up for that. So this book might just be a complete obscurity, just because I'm not going to put in the effort that I probably should to properly self-launch a book. But that also means that doesn't mean if I self-launch it that I have to like stop seeking traditional publication where I would have a marketing team, whatever. So I think that when social media came into my life, I was not on Facebook prior to Scallywags. I didn't do social media prior to Scallywags. Social media came into my life when I signed the contract with Scallywags as a way for me to start saying to the world, hey, I'm this person. I've got this game coming out. What do I do next? And so my social media began in 2012, well, 2011, maybe 2010. It began right around the time that Scallywags came out as a way for me to find that audience, to preload some interest. And that's what it has been all this time, was just a way for me to put my stuff in front of people. Not a way for me to connect with people. But it turned out that that validation was important to me. But it's not anymore, like at all. And I think that's a good thing. I think that I have friends, real friends. You guys. The friend that was at my house last night playing games. I have real friends, obviously my wife, that I need to put more time and attention into. How many friends do I want to have? I don't know. But I would like to someday say I could have a party and people would show up. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends, wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again on Monday. Today's word you should know sounds smart is titular. It's an adjective meaning a person who is a leader by title only but lacks any real power. The Queen is the titular head of the British Empire. Titular. Titular. That is not at all how I know that word. I thought titular was like related to the title of something. So if something is called whatever, Indiana Jones and the whatever, then Indiana Jones is the titular character because it's Indiana Jones. Am I crazy?